You know, we hear the word democracy thrown around all the time, right? Especially when it's election season. But what if I told you its real meaning has less to do with who you vote for and a whole lot more to do with how you live your life, like every single day? So today, we're going to flip the script and look at democracy from the inside out.
All right, so let's start with a quick question. When I say the word democracy, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most of us, right? It's probably something like a ballot box or a big government building. It feels, I don't know, kind of formal and super political. But what if that's only a tiny, tiny piece of the puzzle?
Well, get this. The idea we're exploring today is that the real heart of democracy, the place where it's actually born and lived out every single day, isn't in some fancy government building. Nope, it's right inside our own homes.
And here's where it all really starts to make sense. A democratic society isn't just a form of government, it's a way of living. It's all about how we interact with each other, cooperating, respecting that people have different opinions, and just trying to be fair. And that's a huge takeaway, right? Democracy is something you do, not just something you have.
Okay, so if democracy is a way of living, where do we first learn the ropes? Well, it all starts in the first society any of us ever belonged to, our family.
That's right, the family. It's the smallest, most fundamental building block of society. And it doesn't matter if you grew up in a nuclear family or a big, bustling, extended family, this is ground zero. It's the first place we all learn the unwritten rules of how to get along with other people.
So how is a family democratic? It's not like you're electing a parent-in-chief, right? No, it's all about the everyday stuff. Things like making decisions by talking them out, figuring out problems without yelling, and yeah, even working together on chores. It's about making sure everyone gets a fair shake, respecting your parents and elders, and having the patience to actually listen to what someone else thinks. It's this constant juggling act between having rights and having responsibilities.
And really, it's these simple, everyday moments that drive the point home. Just think about it for a second. From figuring out what's for dinner to getting the yard work done, every single one of those shared tasks is basically a mini lesson in cooperation. Learning that stuff early, that's what makes you a better teammate, a better coworker, a better citizen down the line. It's literally democracy in action, right there at the kitchen table.
All right, so after the family, we step out the door into our next mini society. It's a place that takes all those lessons we just talked about and kicks them up a notch on a much bigger scale. Of course, I'm talking about school.
And let's be real, school is so much more than just a place for reading, writing, and math, isn't it? It's this whole structured world where we learn how to work together on group projects, how to respect leaders like teachers and prefects, and how to accept what the majority wants, through stuff like class votes. And this is huge. It's where we practice equality by sharing everything from textbooks and library books to the basketball court.
And this isn't just theoretical stuff, right? This training happens in really practical ways. Every time you join a club, vote for a team captain, jump into a debate, or help put together a school festival, you are actively practicing democratic skills. Think about that. These aren't just fun extracurriculars, they're basically hands-on workshops for how to be an active, engaged citizen.
Okay, so we've seen democracy at work in the family and at school. Now let's zoom in even further, right down to the core of any society, the individual. Because this is where we find the most fundamental democratic balancing act of them all, the one between our rights and our responsibilities. So to really wrap our heads around this balance, it helps to have a clear starting point. Take the United Nations Convention on Child Rights, for example. It sets a pretty clear definition. A child is any human being under the age of 18, and it lays out a whole set of fundamental rights that belong to every single one of them.
And we're not talking about just a few vague ideas here. The convention has 54, that's 54, distinct articles. 54 specific promises made to every child on Earth, covering pretty much everything from their right to be safe to their right to have their voice heard.
And this isn't just some dusty document sitting on a shelf. It's an active, living promise. It's upheld by organizations we all know, like UNICEF, which works tirelessly all over the world to make sure these rights are protected for kids everywhere.
But, and this is probably the most important part of this whole discussion, there's a powerful idea at the center of this. Rights without responsibilities are meaningless and self-centered, and that really gets to the heart of personal democracy. You just can't have one without the other. They're a package deal.
So what does that partnership actually look like in real life? Well, they're basically two sides of the same coin. For every single right, there's a matching responsibility. You have the right to an education, right? That comes with the responsibility to show up and actually try to learn. You have the right to health care. That comes with the responsibility to take care of yourself. And your right to free speech,
That's tied to the duty to be truthful and not to harm others with your words. They absolutely go hand in hand.
Okay, but this whole delicate balance between rights and responsibilities, it doesn't just exist in a perfect world, right? We all know that sometimes things go wrong. Rights get ignored or violated. So who's there to step in and protect them? Well, that's where the bigger systems come into play. Governments create official institutions like a National Child Protection Authority or a Department of Child Care Services. Their entire job, their whole reason for being, is to be that safety net. They're there to protect those rights, step in when kids are at risk, and make sure they have the support they need to do well. So, when you put it all together, you can see that democracy isn't some far-off political idea, it's right here, right now. It's in the conversations we have around the dinner table, the teams we play on at school, and in that constant daily balancing act between our own needs and the needs of the people around us. It really is a way of life. Which just leaves one final question for you. Now that you can see it everywhere, how are you going to practice democracy?